Hi, I'm Neil Hockin. I am the Joint Managing Director of Lunson Mitchenall, where I oversee all of our leasing activity. I'm also on the operating board of Revo, where I help run the Asset Management Committee and historically have run our international study tours. Very sadly, I can remember 25 years ago, I was in the industry at the time. At the time, we were agreeing far, far longer leases, predominantly to institutional retailers. All of our leasing was inside the Landlord and Tenant Act and predominantly retail. Since then, we've seen a massive change in the whole arena, increase in leisure, restaurant, food and beverage, up to a day like today where we're doing a lot of QSR, quick service restaurants. Leases are definitely shorter, the investment cycle is quicker, the Landlord and Tenant Act is less prevalent, so a lot of change. I think perhaps one of the biggest issues we have is competing with online competitors and how we as the custodians of high streets and shopping centres help retailers to remain competitive and consumers engaged. There's definitely a lot more science in how retailers are looking at the spaces they want to acquire. If you spin back 25 years to when Toolbox was in its infancy, we dealt with fewer retailers taking more and more shops. So Topshop, all the sports brands and companies like Clinton Cards would take as many as 50, 60 shops a year. Now the market's far more fragmented and we probably don't do more than 8 or 10 deals of any specific retailer or restaurateur at a given time. So it's a far more complex market where we have to find more bespoke solutions to encourage retailers to take space. I think the future is really exciting. Making town centres and shopping centres relevant is really, really key. That's driven by leasing, but also by the teams on site and the marketing companies behind them. And I think it's critical we have a really joined up approach. By 2034, Generation Alpha will be 24. They will have had contact with mobile devices since the age of 1. That is going to fundamentally change retail. And perhaps the biggest change we're seeing is the rate of change, which is faster than ever before. I'd like to say that ESG is at the top of the agenda. I think it's definitely talked about. But at the end of the day, we work in a sector with difficult and limited margins and limited capex budgets. And I think sometimes it gets pushed backwards in the interest of short-term profitability. I don't want to bet on the future of physical retail. I think it's really, really tough. I think if you'd asked me about where we are in 10 years' time, 3 years ago, I was probably more positive. I was definitely more positive at the back end of 2024. But I feel there's other influences on both local and national government policy, which mean town centres and shopping centres are a bit overlooked. We need fresh capital, low-cost capital that's in for a long time. And whilst that can come from the private sector, it does need government encouragement. When I think about a market in 2000, or at least the bits that I can remember it does seem like a long, long time ago, I think we lived in a simpler market where we dealt with the same retailers repeatedly. It is far more fragmented now, and we have to find far more innovative solutions. I think the greatest change that I have seen is definitely the speed of change, and I think it's really hard to have one word that sums it up. Having worked in this industry for a long time and worked with some amazing people, I still find it really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to the next 5 to 10 years as well. At the end of the day, we have a relationship between landlords and retailers that is very symbiotic, and they need to be working together. But the ultimate customer is a consumer, and we need to be relating properly to them and ensuring they're getting the right products in the right way in an environment that encourages greater spend.